Hi, Thomas Brinsko here, publisher of BIC Magazine and BICmagazine.com. Instead of discussing a specific energy issue like I traditionally do in this blog, I'd like to visit briefly today about some traditional values and how even more than affecting our industry, these values even affect our ability to function as a society. It's really important to discuss because I know that we've got a lot of work to do. It's been 15 years since my grandfather died, and when I eulogized him, I really thought about the values he embodied. He was a member of America's greatest generation, a man with deep love of God, family, and country. The greatest generation refers to the people in the United States that grew up through the Great Depression and later fought World War II. As a group, they were patriotic, driven, motivated, and had a strong work ethic. They lived as frugal consumers and prudent savers. They were committed and loyal, especially to their families. Living out these values, that generation lifted our nation out of the Great Depression and won a world war against evil forces that launched the economic juggernaut that is the U.S. Now you can look around our culture today and checking out the news, it seems like for many, patriotism isn't quite in style like it was even 5 years ago. Work ethic feels like it's eroding. Religion certainly isn't a priority, and young people seem to be waiting longer to get married and have children, even if they do so at all. All this was just kind of a general feeling I've had until last week when I got a text from a close friend who's also a leader in our industry. It only confirmed my suspicions. The text read simply, "We've got work to do," and it had a link to a new poll from the Wall Street Journal showing that Americans' values have changed dramatically in the last few years. Things like patriotism and having families that have been a bedrock for American values for generations are no longer as important to us, according to this poll. The Journal conducted the survey with a nonpartisan research group, and it found that since 1998, the percentage of Americans who say that patriotism is very important to them is down from 70% to 38%. Those who say religion is important to them, down from 62 to 39%. Things like showing tolerance took a 22-point drop as well. Shocking to me, the Americans who say that having children is important went from 60%, actually 59% in 98 to only 30%. The share of Americans who are involved in their community and say hard work is very important, well, that's also fallen. The one category that showed an increase in importance was money. Making money as a value was up 12 points. It was the only value in the poll that really looked towards self-interest instead of the interests of others. There's been a slow decline in most of these categories from 98 until 2019, but then in the last 3 years, it just took a nosedive. Patriotism dropped 23 points in just the last 3 years. Why so dramatically in the last 3 years? Perhaps it's the enormous impact of the pandemic, and it's still being felt everywhere, the economic instability it caused. Could be prompting people to value money more and feel like having children is just a riskier financial commitment. We also tragically closed our churches, so that could be leading to valuing religion less. Other polls have shown less trust in our government institutions because of the way they handled COVID. Combine that with some tremendous political division, and that could be making people feel less patriotic. This is only one poll, and I don't want to put too much data importance on it, but it seems to fit what's going on. The implications for American greatness and the happiness of Americans is tough. There is hope, however. There's more than a residual commitment to our core values and institutions, and those of us who understand how critically important these values are, we've got work to do. If you're able, live into these ideals. Let's endeavor to teach them to people. Show this truth to your coworkers, neighbors, and the next generation. One person can't change the world overnight, but you can change the immediate space around you. Be overt and bold with these ideals. The greatest generation were normal people who lifted our country by abiding in these great thoughts and premises. We can do the same. It's important to understand that faith, family, and optimism are critical resources of meaning and happiness in life. I'm wishing you all that life really has to offer. I truly am. Let's just all think critically about which values we're going to put at the top of our pecking order. We might want to use the values that have withstood the test of time over millennia. God bless you, everybody, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.